As a practice run. I'll call the meeting, the Tom Pownell DRB meeting to order, February 15th, 2023 at 7 PM. Approval of the agenda, approval of the minutes of January 18th, 2023. Business permit discussion and review, bylaw review and discussion, public comment and adjournment.
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those- Oh. You can vote on that one.
You can vote on that one.
Okay. Any objections? Any abstentions? Approval of the minutes of January 18th, 2023.
I abstain.
I abstain.
We need a motion first.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any
Abstain.
I abstain.
two abstentions? No opposition. Okay, motion passes. Business permit discussion and review. So what'd you have going there, Hannah?
So basically just when we do a business permit or even a regular permit that has conditions, I wanna talk about maybe finding a way to track them so that if we have a business that's not, following the conditions, that we can kind of have a way to track that. Or then when, say somebody, you give them a condition that they have to renew in so many years, whatever, just so we can keep track of that. I don't know if you guys have any ideas for that. If not, I can maybe start an Excel spreadsheet and then just do the formula to change in a certain color when it's expired. And then as far as conditions, I don't know if you guys have any ideas of how we can keep better track of the conditions that we put on the permits or making sure that they're following those conditions.
Okay, yeah, because that's,
We had that issue before, so.
we've had that has happened before, and we actually, there's an example right now that Carl and I have had discussions, and I think we're going to revert that one back to Act 250 and allow them to handle the proceedings, and then maybe we can get involved after that. But I think it's a very viable option where yearly there would be a printout of those permits that would be coming up for review. Because I think it's very, very plausible that we're going to do some semi-annual, biannual kind of reviews on permits coming up, so other boards have an idea, or even our board, the board that's present. So, in our packet, it might be handy to have during our reorganization, permits that need to be reviewed. So every new board is aware of what's going to come forth as far as permits that need reviewing, revisiting, reauthorization, something along those lines. So I think that would be great during our reorganization period, that would be presented to the board as far as a master list. Is for our own purposes, you guys can have on whatever platform you deem fit. But if we had a list of permits and their anniversary dates for that year coming up.
What, do you have an example that currently is going on now? Say with, rubbish people, something like that?
So that is one that has been questioned.
Yeah.
And Carl has pulled up the Act 250 permit. I have a copy of it that I could present to the board if it so chooses.
No, I'm just curious of what, what's out there. I think it did Purple Valley.
Yes.
And some of those things that can be highlighted right now and fresh in our mind, so we can use the example for pass on to the new people.
Yeah.
You guys pretty much know what you're doing and what you've done, but guys like us coming on board
Right.
don't have a
Yeah,
handle on it.
That would be, yeah, those site visits and
Yeah.
the Babson one where we
Okay.
where we progressed and yeah.
Yeah.
You know, can you, and I'm sure there is there a folder of facts and findings and decisions? Okay, so you can reference that at any point in time, correct? Okay, so a new member could have that at their disposal and things have gone on and conditions or parameters that we've imposed upon. So,
I think like you're saying, though, something right in, at the new, start of the new board, just everybody can get a copy of what it was they did for the last session.
yeah,
Then we know, okay, they worked on that. That was their stuff they did then, and any of them that need to review going forward would say review on them.
right.
Yeah.
Now, for business permitting purposes, is that more of issues for just being able to track what businesses are in town?
Yes, that also was an issue.
Okay. Is it more of a way to track, or is it more of a way to be able to? I understand the tracking part of it. I'm a little hesitant on turning around and going, okay, we're gonna have another layer.
I think it's an oversight or, not an oversight, it's overseeing what these permits were intended to be and to make sure that the individual.
Well, I get the idea of having a review on them at a period of time.
Right.
My concern is that
We're not gonna be Big Brother.
we're not gonna be Big Brother. I'm not, that's always my thing, is
I understand.
No, but I think, because they had that one before when Tam was in.
Yes.
That needed a review before, they had to re-up their,
And the only reason that
That would
that
know
came
ahead of
forth is because Trevor was selling.
right.
And the permit, it was discovered that the permit had an anniversary date on it.
Yes.
That's the only reason that came back before the board, because the board had no idea
Right.
Right.
that that was an expired permit with a reauthorization period.
And I really understand the fact is we need to have paperwork on what we have for businesses for funding purposes. Just I don't want to, I'd say, it doesn't come to the level of concern, but that little itch is that I just don't, I think we have enough to do. I don't want to be Big Brother and saying, okay, now we're going, because even in Bennington, they really don't have business permits. Okay.
I think, I agree with you on that, I think.
Did you apply for a business permit when you started to, okay.
I think.
I understand of maybe registering, but that registration should be a matter for us to be able to, because we need to have I don't know if a census is not, we need to have an accurate idea of exactly what we have in for businesses, because it's important for the town to be able to apply for grants and stuff.
Something like that, you could possibly get, because each business has a filing with the state anyway.
Correct.
So you could probably,
I know, but the thing, yeah, but you know what? I don't, per se, I don't have a big problem with you if, okay, that John Bashy on this address applies for a permit. My concern would be that when John Bashy moves from X, address,
Does it travel with it?
A doesn't travel, what's that?
Does it travel with it?
Well, when you leave, the next person that comes in should have to re-register
Right.
for the business.
Right.
Even though the permit is there with the property.
Because I don't want, I think, right, because I don't want to say it, because I don't want to say it's a permit, because a permit goes with the property, but it's that
Who's the
X,
individual?
whatever you want to, whatever somebody
somebody
wants to
starting new
call it.
would have a new one.
Right,
Right,
a registration.
Right.
right.
But not a permit, because a permit goes with the property, because once you register it,
The only problem.
and I know somebody on there is gonna say, no, it don't,
Well,
from our,
the only.
I don't wanna get into that situation.
The only, thought, hi Cindy, yes.
I was just wondering, when the board deems that a permit should be under like a 6-month review, how long does that apply until the board feels comfortable between?
May I answer that?
True.
Cindy? If we put a stipulation in that we are going to review the permit on a month, year, 5-year basis, whatever you want to put in there, that will be done at that period of time until such time that the board votes to turn around. And like Trevor came to us and says, well, in order for me to get funding for, or financing for my business, my bank is requiring that I do away with this portion of my permit. And he came back before us asking for us to
Change it.
change it. There we go. So if we put a stipulation in, that stipulation stays with the permit and the property until such time as we change it.
All right, that's my question. That's the answer. Thank you.
Yeah.
What I'm concerned with, there's lots going on in Pownell, let's face it, and particularly in Pownell Center, the place where they want to open a little restaurant there. I know the last time we were on the planning board, we reviewed it, and there was a complaint by the neighbor down below for water runoff. And those things, when you get a complaint by somebody, and that needs to be noted, because it doesn't move forward with that complaint. And these are sticklers, everybody complains about something. I mean, even, Jelly's trying to put the pizza place, the lady had a question to water.
Yes.
Was it gonna disturb her well? And all those little things lay out there. And then people buy the property next that complained, and they don't know about what the neighbor's doing. This is tricky stuff.
Yeah.
And it involves lawyers.
Yes.
And, my client bought this property, but there's a neighbor complaining, and maybe they moved and somebody sold it. It gets hairy. And here we are as laymen dealing with lawyers, and they kind of got you. So that's why we're trying to fine tune this stuff as much as we can.
Right.
And I think that's why we're here tonight.
Yes. I think that the only thing this board or whatever town can do is to have the information. Because if somebody is not willing to do their due diligence and come down here or call Mike and ask a question, there's only so much that we can do.
I
Yeah,
think too, maybe I shouldn't have worded it with business permits, but I think that like Jeremy were talking about it, and if we had a system to track permits,
Permits.
maybe to their properties, like permits. So that like something when Babson came in, and if we could have looked away and like. see if
Is there
that-
software that we can get that you guys can?
We could probably find formulas in Excel to make it pop up with.
But can that be tracked through what the town uses for their NEMRIC?
Possibly.
Because that would be the cat's paw. Because if we could track the deed with the permits, that's what you really need to do.
Well,
And have the,
would it be easier to track it with the grand list?
maybe a grand list where you click and,
Yeah, maybe with the grand list, because with NEMRIC, it might be a little bit harder now because Julie uses a COT system, so like new.
but we could turn, but the town could turn around and do their grand list, maybe not in a certain way where you can click on the property and here is all the, everything on it.
Yeah, that's a good thing to look into.
Yeah.
Look into that.
Like the racetrack, you got the railroad to deal with, you got the flood balloon, you got
Yeah,
all
right.
these things, and
Right.
no one really knows how to put it all together, but eventually someone's gonna buy the damn place.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
mean, this all has to come out, and a lot of people probably say, I don't care about that, I don't care about that.
Right.
But
Well, Harts Gravel Bed's going to be
Yeah,
a
there
prime
you go.
example. The permits that went with that are now going to be defunct. And they won't necessarily transfer with the property. So now you can update that piece of property with the permits that go with it.
That's a classic, yes.
So there won't be a gravel bed there. It will be something going forth, but it won't be a gravel bed, so.
It's gonna need new permits on it.
Yeah, this is
And the permits there will be non-existent.
They won't have to go
So-
and fix the permits for the Act 250, because I think they got booted out of Act 250 anyways.
They did.
There wasn't an Act 250 permit.
No, they'd expired
Right.
and ceased, so, and that would be something you can update with that piece of property. You can go
Yeah.
in and, alleviate or remove all those permits and any stipulations that were there and, move forward with that. So now it's a clean piece of property with no permits.
Yep.
So we could track that in a much better way.
Then it's easy to bring it back up for a meeting, so
Right.
we just go, okay, we gotta meet on this because there's permits here and you just.
What do you wanna do?
Site.
Yep.
Yeah, and as you know, as the numbers come up and you guys punch it in, if it, when you execute the permits and this information automatically comes forth with that parcel number, then that would be great. So
I mean, some stuff's gonna be taken out of it. Let's say.
Right.
Let's say the, Williamstown is gonna build a fire department and there's a gravel bed there. Well, she may just say, you can have some gravel, not up on by me though.
Right,
Some of that
right.
gravel's around me.
But it's all her now.
Basically, she concerned with dust and noise, that's her. Otherwise, the place could be taking some, not a lot of stuff out of it, but
Right.
she'd let
She could
Williamstown.
donate.
Yeah, and that, I don't think she'd care about that, but,
Right.
yeah.
And don't forget, that's not going to give us a total picture on the properties. Because you're not going to get right of ways or anything like that.
Right.
But that's not what we're concerned with.
But that's not what we're concerned with. Right.
What do you got? What do you got, Cindy?
Oh, I'm just thinking that every entity that has a deed, all of the stuff involved with that property should be in that deed.
Oh,
And
yeah, but here's,
Really should be up to the town to find it. I mean, when
no,
you buy something and
no. That should be on the person doing the stuff. The only thing we're trying to do is the way I understand it, Hannah, is we're trying to figure a way out for this board to be able to track what boards have done in the past and not have to have Mike go deep diving down in the basement and looking through paperwork, trying to figure out what was done in the past.
it's
Amen. That's about it.
On permit wise,
That'll definitely speed up.
permit like,
maybe
permit every so often.
correct, or maybe somebody has a permit they got a permit 30 years ago.
Well, that's just it. How did you
We don't
find
know.
the Babson permit?
Because we
Well, the
don't,
Baker
because we
permit.
don't track permits.
I didn't end up finding, I don't know if Mike found it or if Julie.
Tara did.
Yeah.
Tara
I'm pretty sure Tara did.
Tara found that for you, right, John?
My dad.
Okay, I don't know how she went about finding that permit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'll
wonder if
dig in
it-
the basement because.
Yes.
I spent a lot of time in the basement after we first found it.
Okay, so that's what you guys are faced with right now.
And then, yeah, that's the only way we know
Hey,
find things, cause like.
I got a question.
Things aren't in the computer,
Is that-
so we're gonna do that now.
Oh,
Way back when, like, we have no records in the computer, so.
So say Jimmy's permit may not be
Jimmy's permit, man.
registered
No,
with,
it's
Yeah,
not.
no, I'm sure it's not.
I got a question. Would that be something that the town might try to get a grant to do?
Maybe something we can look into, yeah.
You know, we can help.
I mean, it is part of planning and they do have planning grants.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
we had a hell of a time getting the sawmill back in action.
Yeah.
It lay dormant, and the guy wanted to sell it and blah, 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 blah. And I think we found out something that somebody was on the payroll who lived there and that kept the permit alive after so many years. So that's what he got involved with, getting it open again.
Okay. You're talking Mr. Lachlan? Lachlan?
No.
Okay, oh, there was another guy that was living there, that's right.
Yeah, he was living in the place.
No, I just know Mr. Lachlan because
No.
he had two very attractive daughters.
Yeah.
I was in high school.
Okay, we're digging up bones. But
We're
that's-
digging up bones. Yes, we are.
This is the kind of stuff that we dealt with, we're dealing with in old permits and some laying there and useful, plenty useful. And we knew they never was flood. It was up so high and he wanted to put a jump in there, you know?
What is the status on our records?
I don't know what they're doing.
I mean,
Take a lot of trucks,
do we have records?
a lot of trucks.
Well,
We have, are
Somebody had to
they
deal with
just,
someday
we
that
have to
would-
dig through them is what I'm getting at, most likely.
Yes.
We have piles of
Somebody has
records.
to
We
come
just
with
don't have
money, though.
sorted records.
Yes, and they're not like, it's not like there's DRB boxes down there, or just zoning boxes, like there's zoning boxes.
Honorable
but
pieces
they're all
of
mixed
property
in
laying
with, like,
around though.
Did
permits
now,
or with land records.
Well, and this is another concern
Minutes,
is when we start getting absentee landowners.
His file.
That's our problem.
And
Okay, this is when we start getting these people,
Probably
and
like-
if they get a piece of property with
I'd say over 100
Tab
permits
over here.
in his.
They've got a piece of property.
They were all different boxes, like there was a
yeah.
lot of time down there.
I mean, I think we've hit on a bigger problem than just business permits.
Oh, yeah.
When they.
They've got
up there, they just
sledding
threw everything in boxes.
fleet, whatever.
I think it's a search and rescue.
That's not that's not such a bad, did they ever pull the records out of behind the church?
how we
I
deal
don't think
with.
they did, I think they're still.
I don't think they got in there yet.
What's that?
I don't think they're going that deep yet.
Yeah.
Okay, we're
Okay.
gonna- we're still start getting.
Last time I knew, they were still trying
We
to
got
get
them
stuff
now.
out of
We're not
there.
gonna start, we've got.
Trail parking.
Do you need a motion from the board to have you guys look into going forward with getting grants to be able to turn around, put us a database in?
I think
On our permit.
that's gonna have to come from the select board.
Yeah.
But could we do
We could formulate a proposal.
We could put
a
a
proposal?
Yeah.
I think that would be good. At least it would show that we are,
What's Cindy got?
Cindy,
I was just gonna bring up a point that sometimes it's really hard to get what the town has done 100 years ago, or it may not be in a certain place, like case in point with my property, there was a question on the right of way that the town had on Sawmill Road. And it took 2.5 years and lots of money to find out the information that was at an 1892 select board meeting about that. It ended up being, good to have information, but
Right.
it takes some digging.
Yeah,
may I?
yeah.
The information we're looking for is it's similar to the thing that you run into on the deeds, just not as far back on zoning permits. But probably end up more complicated because nobody knows exactly where they're filed. They're just in the pile.
Well, as Jimmy and I were just discussing, the absentee landowners that we're getting now and following up with the permits that are on these properties with absentee landowners and future subletters and things along these lines.
Yes.
So who's going to be liable? Who's responsible? These are some of the questions that, as Hannah stated, we're probably going to need some clarification on when we get down into bylaw review and discussion. Who do you go after when there's a violation or a permit renewal or something along those lines?
Yes.
When we don't have, we know who's in the building now, but we may not know.
That's gonna-
Future boards may not know who owns it.
Did they ever get an air permit for Airbus? I mean, there's an issue we really need to get into with Airbus people, because there was people, we got one in town, two in towns.
Oh, Airbnb.
Airbnb, yeah, that's what I'm saying, yeah, but,
We had 7 at one point in time. I don't know what we got now.
Well, those are fads, by the time
But they're still,
by the time it became a problem.
well, are they?
I don't think they're a fad, no.
no, they may.
No, but
Right now, we're isolated, but if you get into a neighborhood,
Yeah,
that's gonna hit the fan.
Now,
you think so?
Yeah, would you rather stay in the one hotel in our town, or would you rather rent an Airbnb?
Well, I mean, that comes into the housing problem that I was talking about before.
Yeah.
But on that same,
Yeah.
on that same line, there's an Airbnb in town that had been booked continuously, not compliant with the septic that was there. And it failed. Okay, now, this is something that I don't know how you're going to go about this as a town, but it needs to be addressed. When you had a 3-person home with 15 people in it, this is a very large issue that is possessive.
If your septic system fails, then you know what? You're SOL.
Well, are you? Because,
Yeah, but you bought a business and you're now doing another business in it.
okay,
That's why in Montpelier,
Okay.
somebody bought a house, and that's why your septic's gotta be checked, and they added on to it,
right,
and the septic failed.
correct.
So Montpelier made the law now, when you sell a property, you've gotta check your septic.
And have a backup.
Yeah, and then they just added on another room for the section
Yeah.
and put in more people and boom go, no septic. And then we got a couple places in town that are doing that. More people are using it than was intended for.
Well, most of our permits now, we're checking into that.
Right.
We want to know it ahead of time.
Correct.
There was a residence in town that they added an in-law apartment on without proper permitting. Zoning violations were attached to the deed. Sale of the property became a very large problem. Remember this one? Yeah. They got them rectified, and now they just added another part onto this particular piece of property. I don't know the parameters of it, but I do know that there was a very large problem with this piece of property, which made it practically unsaleable for quite some time.
Yeah.
So is that similar to an Airbnb situation that we need to address somehow as a town, as boards, as the bodies that govern?
Well, I think that comes into, you know what, if you're running an Airbnb,
Because that costs quite a bit of money.
Maybe you
to
should
fix
have-
that situation, correct?
Well, they're going to wind up fixing it.
Are you talking about the store?
No, Barber's Pond property.
Yeah, we did, we
I'm quoting
moved
still.
about 15 people, we did.
Oh, there goes the light bulb.
Yeah.
Yes.
I got you, the one in the corner.
Right.
Yes, yeah. That was a disaster.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was
That's what we
I'm
gotta try to
sister.
stay away from.
Yeah.
They put that in-law apartment in.
Correct.
And
It was a disaster. There were.
Too many questions.
we're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, there were all kinds of instances.
Corner of Pudding Stone. And we got in there, they had put an in-law apartment in and like over the top of the garage and we bought the place, we didn't even know. And yeah, septic failed big time. It was a mess.
but here's the problem.
Helpful to the people now and helpful to properties now and moving forward in the future for people 20, 50, 100 years from now. So-
Right. But I think the thing of it is, okay, unless we want to, as a town, go into everybody's house once a year and check their septic.
No.
No.
Give them
What it is back
It's all new buildings.
to permitting.
I understand that, but these people have a permit already.
Nobody has a permit for an Airbnb.
No, but the thing of it is,
This is where Jimmy was going.
oh, I agree with you, Derek.
There is
Yeah.
no permitting process right now that I know of for running an Airbnb in your home.
Okay.
Oh, we personally, my family, we can go 4 people or 20 people.
Okay.
We just
Right.
had a big place down in
Right.
Steventown, big old barns done every week, had 15, 20 people there, you know?
Yeah.
And generally we take about 6 or 8, but we always stay Airbnb. And there's different towns that done their homework.
Okay.
That's what, yeah, except for the one in Steventown, I'm not sure of that, but
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah. But I think it's something that we probably should address as far as,
Number of people stay.
right, permitting these,
Yeah.
before, and it's not, I'm not a bleeding heart, but it's not fair to the people that come in and rent these and they get there
Right.
with all these elaborate plans and guests coming and then something fails. Now, that's not our problem.
That's not our problem.
But it's part of the permitting process.
A1 septic.
When they come in with a building permit, We need to have a septic design on that building permit stamped and approved by the state of Vermont.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, now we should maybe start pushing the state of Vermont to give us an approval on these septic systems before they can run their Airbnb out of these.
Right, but we don't even have we don't even have the regulations, if you, however you want to put it. I
We haven't
don't-
made it yet, have we?
On Airbnb.
But maybe we can have Hannah
Yes.
figure out if we can give the VLCT a
That
call
would-
and say, can we?
What are other towns doing?
There you go.
That's a better, what are other towns our size doing?
Because we're starting to increase frequency of these Airbnbs and
And I don't have a problem. I think we encourage Airbnb.
Oh, yeah.
But,
It's good.
but,
Yeah.
It's a pre-existing.
but if you're a landlord, do you have to have a functioning septic system?
Yeah.
Okay.
and your guys are by the size of your septic.
by what it is.
Yeah.
Right now, it's,
Can't-
when you sell your house,
Right.
people are existing now.
If it's a 4-person house, you can't put 10 people in it.
And, as in design, well, if they come before the board saying, if they became before us and they have whatever the state has applies for an inspected system and it's approved for what they're using for, right, I don't have a problem.
If David
But-
Swift's will there, it's gonna be a very expensive one.
What's that?
David Swift is the guy that, tried to put the big, what do you call it?
Above ground.
Yeah, but it's not,
Mound system.
Mountain
system, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, he's a bastard.
But that's my thing. I want to end up making sure that Matt's concerns are covered without turning around and making it any more burdensome than it has to be. You guys know where I'm coming from.
Well, the Legion had a problem there, and if we backed up, we would have to take down the pavilion if our septic failed.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was the background out there, you couldn't put anything there.
Yes.
Because we had a thing on there, but luckily it did.
Yep.
Yeah. But back in the day, when we were, renting a place, having weddings and with everything, it was a concern. So, David Swift was down from the state and, all septic systems fail, he says. This is just, they all fail. And, what are you gonna do? You gotta lay out a piece of land that you can put an add on to.
Right.
So, that's
But now
an
just
issue
to-
the state's very much into.
Just because,
that's-
right, but just because it's an old septic system doesn't mean, here's the thing, any septic system, and I think I was told that, don't quote me on the date, but it was 2009-ish, that a system put in that, if it doesn't meet code now and it was put in before that date, so long as it's not a failed system, it's an approved system. Right.
That's the spaghetti lots on Mount Anthony.
Yeah.
And that's Mount, Hartwellville.
Yeah.
That brought Act 50 down.
Yeah.
And, Hartwellville, they were gonna build up everything.
But I think-
And the spaghetti lots were like this acreage wise, but you're fleshing downhill. They were gonna do Mount Anthony with houses.
But I think probably the
Spaghetti
way
lots.
to approach the Airbnb or that type of very short term, it's more like a hotel housing, is to turn around and, well, if you're gonna have that in, maybe you need to come before the board because is it an approved in the zoning that you're doing it in? I don't think we've even got zoning for Airbnbs where it can be in.
I don't think there is.
I don't think you can restrict that because it's technically residential.
Neighbors are gonna complain.
Oh, no, right? No, it's,
Could
That would be a-
Could we just do could the board ask or put it in planning and see if we can add something to it?
I would prefer, I would prefer.
Update
I would-
their system.
Right, but I would.
Be put in before they
John,
rent it.
I think that we should hash that out here
Yeah.
a little bit more before we present that or send that kind of stuff to the planning board.
Yeah, I agree.
That way, because we're the ones that are,
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, we gotta work something out on this
The
first.
next time we have a planning
Yeah,
board.
I understand that, but here's the thing, then, I think that because we're the enforcement arm, I think we're better, we're at a better, and then we're gonna present it to you. You guys are the ones that are gonna be making
Right,
the
right.
regulation.
We're not enforcement.
No, we're
We're
the
author, we're
planning.
author.
We're the, excuse me, we're the
Passing on to you.
we're the quasi judicial. We're quasi judicial,
So I
I'm
think,
just thinking a permit that would just have them
but we
update.
don't know yet. And I think that if we could turn around, since we've already started the project by talking about it.
but you guys write it and then we would be able to implement it.
Right.
But we need some information for Hannah's gonna have to.
Let Hannah bring us back at the next meeting, because,
She'll bring it to the planning board at the next meeting. We'll be looking for something from you probably.
Yeah.
Where we can start the ball rolling.
Yeah.
And
I'd say bring
Each
them
other
back.
updated as
Yeah.
to prevent.
that's what I would,
Back and
and then
forth.
that way we can sift through it and then send it to you guys.
Right.
Fine tune
That
it.
way, you're not doing this,
Being for
you're not doing the same bullshit session that we're doing.
I know.
Right on.
No, no.
But I think,
Right.
I think
But we
it's a
work it out
viable
here, send it to them.
Yeah.
Or send it
topic
to us.
Yes.
to pursue right now.
Yes.
I mean, it's kind of the next business aspect in town.
Yeah.
Arnold's gonna.
We
go
want to
out.
encourage it, but we want it done
Look at
right.
us. There's one right by you and me.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, I'd say put it on the agenda. for
I know
the next
people have
meeting,
stayed
too.
there.
I think with some.
Oh, yeah, he's a good guy, you know.
Yeah.
Hey,
That'd be a good one.
And like I said, I don't have a problem with them. I'm sure, like Jimmy said, somebody will have a problem with them. But when you start talking, and I've heard as many as 25 people in this one location.
little boozing, little.
So, yeah, I mean, it's,
Well, they definitely do parties at them and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sure.
They're in
We've
location.
had multiple.
That's tough though.
Which is great.
Yeah.
So long as.
Love it.
So long as they've got something in, okay.
it's also a strain on our first responders.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
So these are things that need to be taken into account.
So long as it comes before us. I mean, the thing of it is we have the selectmen turn around and go, if you're gonna have a large event, you have to go before them.
Correct.
Yep.
A mass gathering permit.
A mass gathering permit.
Yeah.
How would you regulate that?
Find out what neighboring towns do.
Yeah.
Say somebody says like when you go on Airbnb.com or whatever, you say how many adults or children you have, like, what if somebody says they're only bringing 3 adults and then they show up with 15 people? You
Yeah.
can get a hotel if you lie, so you can.
Right.
Yeah, well, that's.
Where were you in 1987? I know you weren't born, but that did happen in Florida. We got in trouble. So, yeah, no, that's
Somebody's going to tell the truth.
Right, that's
But
back-
are they just.
but that could be back to a
visiting? They're
violation.
not staying overnight.
okay, that could be back in the stipulation part and
Right.
addressing these permits as far as, okay.
How many are staying overnight?
Right.
Right. But
right.
I understand from your perspective but I guess in the end let's see what other towns our size
Yeah.
are doing.
Yeah.
Then that way we can kind of sift through this, give you guys on the planning at least some sort of a monicum of, here are some of the things that everybody's doing that we as the board here think that is applicable.
Acceptable, yeah.
Yeah.
Here's
Okay.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's what we need to work out here first.
Here's some Vermont ordinances
Yeah.
that other towns, and we've done this with our cannabis and some
Yeah.
other things.
Yeah.
And it would be easier when I sent it back, because all we gotta do is look through it.
Yeah.
See if we all approve of it too,
See what-
and then we can write up a.
So you hash it through and write up something and.
What if you get a major attraction? Now Lee and Lennox down there, they got a major attraction.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, and they're trying to fine tune this, and it's a can of worms. Because people go into Tanglewood and they want to be in Airbnb. But if we had an attraction like this,
Well, we've got one.
Yes, we do.
We've got Williamstown Theater.
I know.
We've got attractions and they're growing.
And there's no land available, really, not much, not cheap anyway.
Not cheap, not as cheap as Pownell, some of Pownell.
And they're looking there's a guy trying to start something down across from the golf course in Williamstown. He's buying the land up there to do something. He was before, when the board. And, he's buying the land there to have some kind of entertainment there. Across from Kelly's golf course.
Okay.
Seven, just for sale. But if we land a major attraction here, then you're in trouble. Then you got,
We got issues,
You got
a lot of
issues,
issues.
a lot of issues.
So, if we can stay, and, this is great that, we're in this position right now where we're trying to get in front of it.
we got a house for sale that's $1.6 million. That land could be something entertainment wise, you know
Well,
what I
there's a-
mean?
there's a-
One of the girls I talked to, she wants to put on something like.
There's a fair amount of that that's in Village.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely,
Have forethought.
definitely gotta get ahead of it.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, so if we can get an ordinance in place, even if it's, sorry to say, not a viable ordinance at this point, but it's in place.
Yep.
That we can not so much as say sneak it through, but present it in a relatively decent manner where we're not trying to fast track it. And we can hopefully get it right
Yes.
and make it fit. That would be great.
Well, would the church ever go in there, go beyond the church? To an open land?
Oh, yeah,
I mean, there's a big field back there. It's,
55 acres.
yeah. So I'm thinking there's a road going into the church. Can it be added on to if they got a permit?
Yeah,
That could be a place where people could play there nicely.
yeah. Actually,
I'm just hypothetically thinking.
I think the last, now don't quote me on this, but I believe the last fix on that, once Helen passed, was to get that off the books.
Okay.
So that will, but I know what you're saying. There's Purcell's Way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. There's a few of these in town that attach to larger pieces of land, which,
Yeah, all you need is a right of way, you know.
yeah.
And still, I saw the guys trying to do something in Barbara's Pond. They were trying. Oh, well, that's, yeah.
Oh, no, I'm just laughing because I looked into that once or twice.
He wanted to put on some things there, but good luck to him.
That's still in Herbie Lewis's estate as far as I know.
Well,
No, it's sold.
It did sell,
Yeah,
okay.
it's sold.
it's been sold.
Yeah.
So that's not in Herbie.
It's sold. I'll tell you who sold it. Mike Deep bought it. And Mike Deep's dead. And, oh yeah, there's a mess there. Somebody's been before the board, for the trailers.
Brian Moore.
Yeah, Brian. Brian owns a trailer park across from me. And he probably wound up with the golf course. He had no relatives.
Mike didn't?
No.
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
So this is something that, yeah. But he seems like a pretty good guy.
He is, he's
Yeah,
good.
he's trying. He wanted to get some trailers. He wanted a tax break, what he did, to clean up the land.
Okay.
Which we gave him about $500 or something. And it would have cost us about $6,000 to take those trailers away.
Yeah.
So they're gone. So he's trying to clean up the place and, yeah, there's a nice place there. When I first came here, that was a beautiful place.
Oh, God, it was, talk about a playground.
It was playground.
Yeah.
And all the racetrack people lived over there. A lot of them, but they played there during the day too. But anyway, we got a lot of property here that's gonna be something someday. I won't be here, but,
No, it's.
but
like I said,
prepare for it.
It started.
Yeah.
We've got several pieces of property that
Yeah.
are in the
We've
process
got
of being
all those
revitalized.
baby boomers that are retiring and they're gonna need someplace to play.
Leaving New York.
Well, no, what we've got are the baby boomers that are not going to be here much longer. And there's several pieces of property, like Peckham's and some others.
Oh, I agree with you, yes. And
They're not
technically,
going to be the Peckham farm, very,
it's not, no, it's not.
not
Well,
now.
Northwest Hill is telling you what's going on over there.
Oh, my God.
$6-7 million house.
Oh, my
going up there,
God,
you know,
right?
and,
Palo Alto, California. Welcome to Vermont.
Well, let me tell you, I will tell you this, in a year, all bets are off.
Oh, I don't even think it's a year.
oh, well. and
As in that type of stuff, yes.
So anyway, okay.
We got the planning board doing something.
Yes.
We got us talking about something and.
Anna's gonna get us some information.
Right, I would like to make a motion. I'm gonna try to word this. You guys might have to reword it so it's actually coherent. I would like, I don't know if it would be called a motion or whatever you wanna call it, but, to make a note to the select board that, maybe it would be good that they look into. We need some sort of way of tracking permits. Okay,
I don't think we need the select board to do that though.
no, but
We can direct Hannah ourselves to do that.
can we direct you to do that, Hannah? I guess that would be easier, wouldn't it?
Research it, yeah.
To research it, see where it comes in?
And then if I find.
Something worthy?
Applicable, you have to get approval from the select. board
That's,
to
yes,
apply for the grant.
yes.
Right.
Let's not let them have to do any more
Yeah,
work than they need to. They got enough to do.
I say just look it up.
we can't hear you, Cindy.
Oh, I'm saying you mean to track them, maybe categorize them, right?
Organize everything.
Just, so- I think it's more of like think of it like an archive. We have, right now, the only permits we know are the permits that have been done in the last
Couple of years.
however years. I mean, I can't even go all the permits that I have done. I mean, I got a good memory, but I don't have that good of a memory. Okay? And to go back in time to where, however back, because you gotta understand, a permit
Many years you've been up
that
there?
was put in 30 years ago is just as valid as a permit that we approve today.
But I don't think we need, we don't need the subdivision permits. Okay, I don't think we need to go in,
No, not into that direction.
Not in that.
I'm just talking plain Jane permits, building permits.
right, what property, like when we did Lucia's greenhouse permit.
Yeah.
Correct. I agree with you because we don't need to do,
Because we knew that was going
Because
to
the-
be for
because subdivision is
a
going to be,
grow facility.
because a subdivision permit is also going to be tracked by Julie and the listers.
Right.
So that's going to be something that's already in the system. We're talking about these permits that aren't in the system.
Well, my brother's piece up there at Crystal's.
Yeah.
The permits that go with that piece of property. We know there's permits. We may not know exactly what they state. So once you get that permit and goes with that property, then if there's questions, you can reference that in a relatively quick manner.
Correct.
You guys know the Gardner property, so you know that.
Right.
All fits, and the rest of it's swampland.
Right,
Yeah, so nothing really goes on
right,
up there too much.
right. But I mean, originally that was permitted for a gas station in
Yeah,
the store.
yeah.
Now the gas station is defunct.
Yep.
So now that permit probably should be vacated.
Yeah. and-
So, I mean, we may have to get a mechanism in place where,
Where we can review the permit and say
well,
that,
are they perpetual once they've been vacated? So this is something that could have come up with the Babson property. Was it vacated when Baker ceased? Did he ever cease his operation? What is the statute of limitations? How long? Because that was one of the questions that was brought up. How long are these permits valid for?
The Sawmill was a classic.
Okay, Fast Freddy's was a gas station convenience store. It's been vacated for some time now.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Gary's just got cars in there. Would it still be permitted for a convenience store and a gas station?
You applied for it, you go through the motions.
Right, but I mean, the permit
there.
should be
I don't think-
vacated?
I don't think it's grandfathered.
No, I don't think so, not anymore. I mean,
Yeah,
we
you-
say that the permit goes with the property,
No.
but it's not perpetual.
well, it is in the respect that so long as you're using it.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But
So it's
once you
it's
stop,
Once you
But what,
stop,
you're gonna make a store out of it?
we've
No.
got no business across the street right now. What permits go with that piece of property at this particular point?
I know in Bennington it's 3 years.
Okay,
And then if you stop a business,
well, that may be some verbiage that we need to implement as far as the town goes also.
right.
So.
That's why you start, that's why, right. And the thing of it is it's only when it's,
Planning Commission to address that for us. So when these permits come before us, we've got date of last implemented.
Yeah.
We
So-
need to have a few good meetings on that. I think,
Yeah,
here,
so many.
to lay
We
that,
covered a ton.
lay out what we would want to see here.
Yeah, I mean,
We can-
and as.
And these are gonna be-
Now that we've got cooperation amongst the boards.
Right.
Yeah,
And these are obvious ones, like the gas station,
yeah.
you know? I mean, that's what you want to get into. Okay, the gas station. You haven't had a gas station there in 15, 20 years.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, now, okay. Now, I don't want to end up with somebody not using something for a year and then,
A year I don't have a problem with.
No.
Now, gas stations are limited to stewards, the
Yeah.
big people.
Right.
Big people.
Yeah.
Lots.
Yeah, I mean, if they come back now, they would have to have lots of permits. I mean, they're gonna have to.
correct.
No money in it anyway.
No, the money's in the convenience store, not the gas station. Never was.
Anyway, it is what it is.
So, yes,
Okay.
Apply and we'll.
okay, so
Meaning abandoned property, is that what you mean by vacated?
Yeah.
once the business ceases operation, then after a certain period of time, the permit would be vacated. It wouldn't be vital with the property anymore. So that's what I mean by vacated. It would be cease of operation after such and such a duration of time where there's been no activity as far as that business is concerned.
Like if Winchester's closed.
Say,
Yeah.
okay,
Closed, we're out of here.
Olden took over.
Yeah.
The Turnavine side.
Yeah.
The automotive side.
Okay, properties that have been abandoned too, you know, maybe, I don't
Well,
know.
we've seen the moccasin place.
Right?
Yeah.
No, seriously.
It all in front of our eyes, really.
Right? I mean, okay, so by that token,
I mean, abandoned, like someone took off, ran off and.
are those permits still valid?
Well, the person died, let's put it this way, and nobody else wanted to pursue it. and
So,
nobody else-
But as of right now, because we don't have any regulations on that.
Right.
Yeah, right.
So that's what I'm saying. Are those, in theory, could those permits still be valid? Pick an
As of
adjective.
right now, they're still valid.
Right, but that's what I'm saying.
Because we don't have.
Are we
no
going,
mechan-
are we
because
going
have
to
no-
allow them to be perpetual?
Because we don't have no mechanism on
No.
on being able to say, okay, you know what?
That's what we have to discuss, whether.
We have to
do
do it.
that process, or do we want to put it?
Let's go back to the village before Stewart's. Now, who in town wanted to close down a gas station? I mean, there was no Stewart's.
Right?
Right.
You had to go to Gardner's or you had to go to Turnavine's, right? And if I'm on the board, I'm not gonna close up the only gas station in town.
Right?
So here's the thinking back then.
Yeah.
That's, we had to have a gas station, or we had to go to Williamstown, and we had to.
You got a brand new highway.
Yeah.
And you gotta have something on it.
Absolutely. And we had businesses going on and business was booming with the racetrack and whatever.
Yeah.
And we had a gas crunch, but Stewart's bailed us out.
1978.
And they lacked about that much from having an acre.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the Dirty Bookstore was there. We all know that and whatever. Caught on fire and Skip saved it. I said, my wife said, Skip, what do you save it for?
It was the best
We
place.
put it
to
out.
look. I was gonna say it.
Anyway, that's the thinking back then.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna put down you ain't gonna put down Gardner's, you out of your mind. And also Turnavines. So it was going on. And then next door was Gasland.
Right?
And you remember, nobody remembers Gasland.
And Slugger Martin has had his fingers in most of it.
Oh, yes. A lot of people involved. But here we are today trying to move on to the next plateau,
Merrill
which is
Transport,
all kinds of
Slugger
things.
Martin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems everything.
Slugger Martin, oh my God.
What's that?
Everything we talked about, it just seems as if,
Right?
it's been ignored or unorganized.
But it doesn't have to be.
No, that's what I'm saying. We have,
I understand.
it's our responsibility to organize it.
I understand that.
Crap.
Well, we're all old enough.
We got a task.
The past was whatever it was.
Yeah, we
Things.
can't, you can't just let it lay in.
I know,
basement.
we're talking about first world problems.
Right.
I mean, there's
Okay,
Legion
all right.
property, there's
I mean-
Buge, there could be something, a restaurant.
It's a problem we're gonna have to address.
Somebody has.
I agree, but it's not, these
That's a nice
aren't
piece of property.
real big problems.
No, no,
Yeah, no,
I'm
it's
just saying
not.
that.
The thing of it is,
I don't think she's getting real.
the reason why it's worked so
No,
well.
that, this here was a lot of land.
Yeah.
No, I mean, if
Have you done business-
This could take months if we had to. It's not like it's a rush on it. It's just that we're
John,
working
how is it to do business in Bennington?
Business in Bennington, I don't like going to Bennington at all.
No, but you started a business and run a business in Bennington.
But it depends on who you are
Right.
Yeah.
and how you started it.
Big
It
time.
It really comes down to who you are.
on where you start from.
Yeah.
Same as Williamstown, or any town.
Any town,
Yeah.
any town. We're,
Who's a big shot in Pownell? We got none.
What's that?
No.
What's that,
No.
Jim?
I say, who's
a big
the
shot?
go-to guy in Pownell?
Who's the go-to?
And we really don't have one.
who can get stuff done?
I know
Who can get stuff
Williamstown a
done?
little bit, I know, but
Matt's brother. If anybody has a problem, go see Mike.
Yeah.
well.
I'll be honest with you,
Mike's gonna
okay,
be pissed.
he's got
He's got more irons in the fire. I don't know how the hell he does it.
a lot of stuff.
On his
And
plate.
it's not just him, it's, the select board is doing a fantastic job.
Yes.
They need a lot of kudos on this, okay? We've got some issues that are.
Can be solved.
Getting, yes, there's some rectification going on. And it's not just all Mike.
No.
So, but I will tell you, there's been word from out of town that what we're doing down here is being recognized.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Is that a good thing or not? Because usually from, when you get recognized from upstate,
I know it's usually-
either the knives come out or the hatchet comes off and your head falls into a basket.
Well, we've been doing.
Go to the banner or whatever, it's like, oh, Donald did that again.
they're starting, they
There's
mentioned
an old saying that says, doesn't matter where you start, it's where you end up that counts.
there you go.
Yeah.
And I think they like the direction.
You almost Golden Stalin doesn't care who votes, it's.
So it's a good thing, which is, so it's a good thing.
It's a good thing. Yes, what's going on right now is a good thing. Hannah could call up there, she goes for top of it.
Well, from where we, Matt, from where we were to where we are, you know, when you're way down here and you come up to here,
It's easy.
okay, everybody recognizes that. They
Carl,
recognize,
Carl, they do.
they do.
What they recognize.
If we were here and went to here,
It's only gotta come up through steps.
they don't recognize it.
Yeah.
And that's all thanks to you and Tara.
People over the Northwest Hill, Northwest Hill is.
Makes them nervous.
What do we want to ask Hannah to get for us for our next meeting?
Nothing.
Nothing.
She's going to get
She knows
this.
exactly what we're asking.
She's going to get this to planning.
Oh, I just was trying to,
We're not going to be involved in this.
I don't want to be involved.
Handed it off.
You're gonna be involved because all of us are talking together.
Right, but no, planning is going to,
But what do we want to discuss at our next meeting?
We're gonna
I thought
have-
we would just kind of discuss this stuff again and just kind of mull it. She would get some information, we go mull it over, and then kind of, you know, not make any decisions on, well, this design or this, but to at least turn around and say, hey, you know, here's this bunch of papers, because we've sorted out most of the crap. Now here, you take that over and make a regulation. I don't want this board to be in a position to make regulations, but I would like us to, at least to turn around to kind of be a filter.
so you want to help influence the ordinance or the regulation.
True, to a degree.
I'm listening to you, you're part of the conversation, what's gonna be with us the next day.
I think just like we did on the other stuff, on the junk ordinance. I mean, we worked on that, we brought.
Okay. I mean,
About it. It's gonna be the
So you
opposite.
would
We're gonna
like-
Talk about it, send it back.
You would like a copy of the information that Hannah gives to planning?
Oh, yeah, we should review it, yeah.
All right.
We kind of started it.
That's fair.
I think we should.
And Hannah's with both of
Or
us.
at least have, or maybe we.
And you guys will have a head start on it, so it'll be perfect.
Right, because you guys, could- yeah, then you could turn around and look at it. We would look at it at our next meeting, just to look at it.
Yeah. What do you got, Hannah, you know?
I mean, if we don't,
I think
if we
we
turn
can
around and
help
don't have
with you.
any meetings, we might,
For this board, so.
You know, if we can get a couple of mock ordinances,
Yeah.
They're out there.
Or you guys come up with a mock ordinance and then we'll turn around and just kind of run through it and see how it is for,
Bylaw number.
Check the
doing the bylaw
boxes.
stuff.
Right.
I mean,
Because like I said,
you look into a
I
few towns
think-
and what they're doing.
I think as
Go back
other
to
towns
Next one.
are presented with the same
Yeah.
scenario,
Yep.
they're going to either react adversely or at least with maybe some reservation, and as we should.
Oh,
And, you can't just go willy-nilly Wild West open arms.
no,
I know of a couple of instances where there were issues, so.
I understand it. I think we should fully embrace this. The caveat is with the proper permits or regulations or however you want to do it. Oh, I think it's an opportunity for Pownell. I think it's an opportunity for people of Pownell. However, you can't have one Airbnb and have it and having 50 people come in. Because we don't, if we, down here at the hotel, because it's basically a hotel room.
Yeah, but that's all done by the state. The state put those people there.
No, I'm not talking about the current residents, Jim.
Okay, they are gonna have to leave in April.
Correct. I'm not talking about that.
I'm just saying, but this is a situation where the state decided they're gonna take that place over.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. This is the new plan in Montpelier. They're buying up hotels, old hotels. People aren't staying in hotels, Airbnbs and other things.
Bennington
They're
there.
tearing them down and they're making homeless.
More hands in
places.
the fire.
Yeah.
And this is starting in Montpelier around there. And
Tax
this,
money
for
should-
some reason, I don't know where the hell these people are gonna go, but they got a knock on the door the other day and said they have to leave by April 1st.
You know why they gotta leave April 1st?
Well, the money's running
The
out.
hotel.
Bingo.
And it's warmer, that's the.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
the warm, and that's.
But my question is where they're gonna go.
Right.
What they got in Montpelier right now is a bunch of pods. They got a whole area with pods, okay?
Yeah.
And 100 pods, and the state's gonna feed them.
Yeah.
And this particularly get them off the streets.
We need to have some regulations on that.
Pods are coming, that's gonna be the new trailer, but not like these. These are just a bed and a bathroom and insulated, and then they'll be fed by the.
When you stated that the state is taking over zoning,
Yeah,
there's a reason for this.
Oh, yeah, I can see that coming.
yeah, it's coming.
Oh, absolutely.
I think maybe we should have that discussion at the next meeting.
I think so.
Yeah, we're gonna bring in Nelson.
It's not just.
I think
I can stomp
regulations
my
to keep
feet
them
and
out of
holler
town.
all I want. You remember the no spread ban?
I understand that, but don't forget, it's just not Nelson anymore either.
So,
Oh, I know that. Dixie is everybody.
No, I'm getting at was our other representatives because they split our town.
Oh, yeah. Well,
we've been redistricted.
if they'll do what they wanna do.
So, I think we've covered the bylaw review and discussion.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay,
If you
so,
guys have any other questions that you can think of that you need like clarification on bylaws, just email them to me and I'll ask the LCT.
Okay. I guess that's the way to go with it.
Coach, she asked you if there were any other questions.
No, I'm all set.
Yeah, no, if there's anything.
If you have anything, just email her.
No public comment? No public comment?
No, nobody's in.
Okay.
And Cindy.
Nobody likes us.
I know. Good thing.
Right.
We're keeping them right
Doug?
Pity. Okay, so, any other discussion?
Nope. You got anything, Cindy?
Not a thing.
I will entertain a motion.
I make the motion?
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I-
Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Discussion.
Thanks.
So